very at home in the Taylor Sheridan universe. How did your experience on Yellowstone prepare you for Tulsa King?
First of all, to be so blessed to be in not just one but two Taylor Sheridan shows, I don't take that lightly. Um, I'm one of those actors who likes to swing for the fences in everything that he does. There's no fear. There's no maybe I should, can I? How about if I? No, it's just in real life, I'm much more of a shy, more introverted type of person. But when I get a character, I can be anything I want, and no one can judge me for it. So there's that fearlessness that I think Taylor really likes with my acting approach that really works so well in Yellowstone. To work with Kevin, you know, certain things have been said about Kevin as of late, because of Horizon or because of this or that. I'm just going to put the fact out there that Kevin Costner might be the greatest screen actor of all time. I just watched Horizon for the first time a few days ago. And it's kind of remarkable how little he does and how much he says. And that's why I love watching Kevin so much. And I steal from Kevin because he's that guy. And I love watching Kevin Costner work. So the two of us together in Yellowstone was just kind of a blast. And we'd already done The Guardian together. So we'd known each other pretty well. So I wish nothing but success for Kevin Costner moving forward. So to bounce from Yellowstone, which was this crazy maniacal character, that were the Beck brothers, to come into this really polished, well-to-do Oklahoman as Cal Thresher is, were two totally different characters. But now I get to go, nose to nose with Sylvester Stallone again. When you talk about a talented guy, and he knows exactly what to do in front of a camera. He knows he's so prepared with his character, with his dialogue, with everything. When it comes to hanging out or acting with huge superstars like those two guys, again, there's no fear there. It's enjoyment. And I can't wait to get to the set and play. It's like being in a big sandbox with, some of the, a fifth grader, and the two fifth graders are going to go nose to nose and have a blast. And that's how I approach my characters for Taylor Sheridan shows. Let's get in that sandbox. Let's kick some sand at each other and let's make some great television.
And you recently said that Cal Thresher was one of the most misunderstood characters that you've played in a long time. Can you elaborate on that for me?
Well, I think he came out so hot right out of the gates when I was nose to nose with Stallone in that very first scene, that as time progressed, he was trying to be that tough guy, and he is that tough guy. He's that because he's got billions of dollars at his fingertips that he can do basically anything he wants. However, as the season progressed, he was like, you know what, this whole marijuana business is I don't think I'm really cut out for this. I'm cut out for something different. And then Reve and I were talking about it at the end of the season two. I didn't think I was coming back. And then we were with David Glasser one day, and Reve said, "Tell David Glasser your idea." I'm like, he doesn't want to hear my idea. But no, it's a great idea, honey. Tell him. And I said, David, I want to come back next year and I want to be the governor of Oklahoma. He stares at me and he didn't really say anything. He's like, that's interesting. And then he goes back to doing his stuff. 3 weeks later, I get a call. Congratulations, you're back on Tulsa King. Here's the first script. And it says, Cal Thresher running for governor. So I got to thank Reve for getting me season 3 and season 4 in Tulsa King. And we had a blast, to go from rough gangster guy like I was as Malcolm Beck to such a polished kind of gangster, cool dude like Cal Thresher is something. They're so totally different. They look exactly the same. They kind of speak the same, but their intentions are so vastly different. And I love playing with the minutia of characters, and to do it opposite Stallone was just a blast.
I think Cal is so interesting. While he wants power, like a lot of characters do on Tulsa King, he doesn't want it at all costs. In
No,
season 2, he knows a partner like Jackie Ming will get him killed, so he gets
that's
out
right.
of that arrangement. Why do you think he set his sights on the governor's mansion?
There were two reasons for it. You could say it's the altruistic reason of I just want to help out my great state of Oklahoma. That is part of it for sure for Cal Thresher. The other part of it is I want to amass as much power as I possibly can to do whatever I feel like doing, especially to Dwight Manfredi. That's kind of the simple approach to it, and that's the approach that I took to it. I'm going to prove to everyone, show everyone that I'm that great polished guy, and I can give you a great 30 seconds and shake hands. And isn't it Oklahoma great? Let's go and make a great state. That's the fun part for Cal. But the great part to Cal is, I wish that they had filmed. There's a scene later on in the season which I can't really allude to. Something happens, and it's this great thing where I'm just seemed like this all American fantastic guy, And I don't know if they cut to it or not, but at the end, as I walk away, you see this very mischievous look on my face of kind of like that cat with the mouse in his mouth. And it's that was the season for me. So it was such a power play and slowly etching away at the power and who's going to be the power person in this room. And finally, of course, it's Cal Thresher. So I look forward to everyone's to watching this season because it won't let you down, that's for sure.
I don't think Cal is vulnerable very often, but the one character we see him consistently put his guard down around is Margaret, especially that scene in episode 4 when they meet to speak about his campaign. What is it about her that disarms him?
Well, I think that, like he calls her, the mobster's mall, he knows that she has Dwight's ear. So he has to really kind of tippy toe around things without offending her or saying exactly how he feels until he does, because he doesn't want to tip the boat. He doesn't want to have Cal and Dwight be at odds with each other, at least until he gets elected. So he needs to get elected first. And once he's elected, he can do whatever he wants at that point. But he needs to get elected first. So he knows he has to play by the rules and be a good boy for a while until he doesn't have to.
Margaret offering to hand him the keys to the governor's office in return for Cal selling her back her ranch is very savvy.
Dwight doesn't know I'm here.
What do you want?
My ranch. You sell me back your share, 10 cents on the dollar.
And in return?
I will hand you the keys to the governor's mansion.
Does Cal respect this move, or do you think he's sort of hurt by her manipulation of him?
Oh, no, he expected it. Cal walking into it knew that there was going to be a price that was going to have to be paid to get her on his side. And she is so well connected in the political scene. And it's someone that I want to have on my side for the political side of Oklahoma, but also for the mobster side of Oklahoma, because she knows both very, very well. So I need her on my team to give me information without her knowing and build my campaign until I get to the point where I am elected. And then I can do whatever I feel like.
He comes from money. He's respectable. He would make an upstanding partner for Margaret. Do you think Dwight should be a little jealous of Cal?
Yeah, of course. Cal's a very put together guy who comes from everything that Dwight didn't come from. There's parts of Cal that wishes he were more like Dwight, that he could say exactly how he feels. And if he doesn't, if it doesn't go his way, he can just beat somebody up. Well, he can't really do that, so how can he beat people up? He can use his brain and he can use his money to create power. And that's what he's doing in season 4. That's a lot of fun. So is Dwight intimidated by Cal? Of course he is. When he says certain things to belittle me at times, I know he's saying things about me, and I get it, but I know why, because he's intimidated by Cal Thresher to a certain degree. He won't admit it, but I know that he is on the page. So that's something that I get to play with as well and turn the screws up at times when I feel like it. So this season was quite a lot of fun for me, that's for sure.
I feel like in most projects, there's always a comment made about your eyes. In Tulsa King, Dwight refers to Cal as having X-ray eyes. In Justified, Raylan compares Quarl's eyes to those of a husky. Are those written into the script, or are they improv on set? And how do you feel about that?
I think that the writers are just, they're smart. I'm not the best looking dude in the world, but for some reason on camera, I've got these eyes that just pop. If I'm evil, they can be icy cold blue, but when I'm happy, they're like, light blue, beautiful skies. So it's just my thought process, and it makes for a great character, good guy or bad guy. You look at Last Rodeo. You would think there isn't an evil bone in Joe Wainwright's body. What a great guy. I want him on my side. He'll fight for us. And he's that all-American guy who has his heart on his sleeve. And then there's Malcolm Beck. I wouldn't want to be in an alley with Malcolm Beck. I think he would scare the heck out of anybody. And he had zero fear. I mean, like zero fear. And I loved playing Malcolm. I wish to goodness that there was a way to bring Malcolm Beck back to the new Yellowstone and wreak havoc.
I wish we never met. Yeah, I bet you do.
We talked about it before, but it's something that I think would just be a blast for the viewers to see Malcolm Beck come back, in a cane and one leg is completely gimp, one arm doesn't work anymore, maybe half his face doesn't work, and he's going to come back and he's going to take Rip and he's going to destroy his life. That would be fun.
We can manifest.
We can manifest. Yes, we can. I love the heck out of Cole Hauser. He's just one of the dudes that is just, to play in the sandbox with Cole is, we've done it so many times, and he's a pound for pound champ, and I love that guy.